Oh my gosh, early morning wakings are probably the least favorite problem that I have as a sleep expert, and I can guess they're probably the least favorite problem that you have as a parent too. So I'm here to tell you what they are, why they happen, and how we can solve early morning wakings for your baby, toddler, or preschooler. Hi, my name is Sarah, and as the lead certified pediatric sleep expert at Your Zen Baby Sleep, I have helped hundreds of families with their early morning wakings, including my most stubborn babies who just don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. or later. And I'm so excited to help you with yours. Why is your baby waking up so early in the morning? Oh gosh, well, there are tons of reasons for this, but the most common is that it's a really hard time to go back to sleep, and if they don't have independent sleep skills, then it's gonna be even more of a struggle. So think about it this way. If your baby wakes up at 5 a.m. and you have like a 7 or 8 o'clock bedtime, yeah, they've had like 9 or 10 hours of sleep pressure taken off of their system. So at 5 a.m. when they wake up, they feel nice and refreshed and they're ready to go, even though it is not enough sleep for their body for an overnight period of time. When we see that our babies are waking up at 5 o'clock and then they don't have independent sleep skills and we try to assist them back to sleep, a lot of the times what this is reported as is like, I brought them into bed to see if I could just get an extra hour and they just want to play. Or it took me forever to rock them back to sleep and then they ended up just waking up 15 minutes later. Or I really think they're hungry, so I feed them, but then they don't want to eat anything for breakfast. These are all indicators that your child is ready to learn those independent sleep skills and to be able to put themselves to sleep on their own. So I have a ton of videos on sleep training and how to do this in a way that's going to reduce the amount of crying that you may be experiencing. You can go check them out in my sleep training playlist. Another reason why your baby, toddler, or preschooler is waking up too early is because their bedtime is too late. This sounds crazy. It sounds totally opposite of what is common sense. A lot of older grandparents, or grandparents in general, will say, oh, if your baby's waking up at 5 a.m., just put them to bed at 10 o'clock and they'll sleep in. And what I find is this just does not work with children until we're school aged. Until about kindergarten or first grade, we are not going to see a direct correlation between a shifted bedtime that's later and a later morning waking. In fact, the opposite will likely happen. The later you shift bedtime, the earlier your child will wake. The reason is because our circadian rhythms are meant to go to sleep between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. for our children up to the age of 6 or 7. So when we have the highest amount of melatonin and adenosine in our bodies, when we can take advantage of the deepest sleep phase that we have in our sleep cycles. And when we're in a deeper sleep phase at the beginning of the night, it means that we're more easily able to cycle through our sleep cycles in the second half of the night and resolve early morning wakings. It sounds crazy and it's a little hard to trust this process, but putting your child to bed early is going to be one of your biggest solves for your early morning wakings. If your bedtime is 8 o'clock, I want you to move it to 7:30. If your bedtime is 7 o'clock, I want you to move it to 6:30, especially if your child isn't napping well during the daytime or if they're not falling asleep independently. An early bedtime is going to bulk them up on really deep non-REM sleep, which will only help them in the early morning hours. What our goals should be for resolving early morning wakings and what our realistic expectation should also be is that your child sleeps until 6 a.m. or later. 6 to 7 o'clock is an appropriate wake-up time for a child who is the age of 0 to 7 years old. Do some kids sleep a little bit later than that? Yeah, absolutely. But they're usually the unicorns. It's not the standard, and 6 to 7 is totally appropriate and the goal that you should work towards. If you are experiencing wakings that happen before 5 a.m., I would not qualify this as an early morning waking. This to me would be a middle of the night waking, and I have videos on this as well. So go check out my YouTube on middle of the night wakings and how to solve them. Full disclosure, early morning wakings take a while to resolve. They take patience, they take hard work, they take consistency, and they take an expert eye to see really what's going on in your child's sleep schedule. All of your child's sleep issues will kind of show up at the 5 a.m. hour, and there's lots of pieces to that puzzle. So if you find yourself to still be struggling after trying an earlier bedtime or teaching independent sleep skills and you're still stuck at 5:05 every single morning, 3 to 4 weeks later, I would love to book a call with you. I offer 15-minute discovery calls that are complimentary to understand what your biggest sleep challenges are and to talk about what it looks like to work one-on-one with a sleep expert. You can find the link below to book a call, as well as the link to my website, yoursandbabysleep.com. And while you're there, I'd love for you to leave questions that you have about early morning wakings. Did you find this information helpful, or are you still trying to tweak things and you need a little support? Leave a comment. Be sure to like the video as well and subscribe. What does subscribing do? Guess what? It makes sure that you are the first to know when I publish my weekly sleep content. As always, from my living room to yours, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.